Uh, just your reaction to this decision.
Well, I'm really relieved that the district attorney's office finally they read a case and they said that okay, the law does not support the conviction that they got back in February, and the court was willing to vacate that, and the remaining count 3, is going to be relitigated. Basically, I'm now pending sentencing. So before I was convicted, I technically was sentenced because my attorney had already been appointed to the bench and they wanted to make him a judge. And so in order to let him go be a judge, and now he's a judge in the Shasta Superior Court, Judge Ryan Burse, that is the reason that I was technically sentenced, but there were still some post-conviction issues that were coming up. And it was Beal versus Department of Motor Vehicles that came out in May of this year that basically tied the DA's hands. It was already a really questionable type of DUI theory of the case. There was no eyewitness to the collision. There was no credible, this is exactly what happened and why she was supposedly under the influence and reckless. I wasn't conscious, so I couldn't give them information. They tried to say that I refused, which is not true. And there are just some pending things that I think are going to come out that the judge is going to see that I think may make the entire case go away or change the grade of the offense or change the nature of the offense. There is a case out of our district court. It's the 3rd District Court of Appeal. It's McKim versus Yolo County. That one came out in January of this year. And that basically said that scooting under the influence is an infraction as opposed to a standard DUI. And the court felt like, well, this is coming pretty late in the game. We've already had a jury trial. So she didn't make my case an infraction. But I think that the new issues that come with people riding these low weight objects like scooters, e-bikes, those type of things, that is still so new for the courts to deal with. I didn't realize this, but I was the very first electric scooter DUI prosecution in the county. And I don't think that there is enough case law out there to say, all right, we know what the standards are, we know how this should be handled, what the consequences should be. And, for my part, I've been sober for a very long time. I've been fully compliant with everything that has been told to me to do, state bar, DMV, the court, everything. I've been doing what I'm supposed to do. I should. I'm a lawyer. And what this has all taught me is that the process is kind of the punishment. So, people might be upset that, well, she hasn't been sentenced to jail yet and she didn't get a felony yet. I'm technically still a felon, but I haven't had some people wanted to see me in prison. I know that my number of stalkers that are always chirping on NorCal Critters have wanted to see me in prison or worse. But what I'm sort of stuck with is, well, I've had to really think about, the consequences to me, to my family, what this has done. And my biggest takeaway has been that every time I see somebody that's riding an electric scooter or an electric bicycle without a helmet, regardless of whether they're under the influence, that is extremely dangerous because some of the most common injuries are going to be traumatic brain injury, and you could very easily die doing that. So, if there's, anybody that's going to watch this that's going to say, what do I take from this? Don't do that. Don't endanger yourself. Don't, the streets are not kept well enough for people to just ride around on these things without there being some serious dangers. There's bike lanes that don't have enough leeway for you to be able to really ride on these, electric contraptions that go much faster than bicycles. So it's not safe. And if you think you can just rent a scooter or rent an e-bike and you're just going to be safe, you are probably wrong. So just be very careful if you're going to use one of those things. Be wearing safety equipment, and given the way that my case was handled, treat it like a 0.00 alcohol tolerance. Like, do not drink any alcohol, don't even sniff alcohol and get on one of those things, because the way that they handled my case, and maybe they didn't want to treat me more leniently than an average person because I'm a lawyer, but it is so not worth it to even get close to being potentially charged. I was well under the legal limit. They didn't care. I was ready to say, I'll take a misdemeanor, I'll go to jail, I will pay this person that got hurt. They didn't care about that. So for the sake of everybody's safety around here, just be so extra careful with yourself, with your surroundings and with the decisions that you make around how you operate any of these non-standard vehicles.
Emotionally, how do you feel?
Very relieved, because now I think that I have a pathway to get back to the life that I wanted to have. I can see a future for myself. I was really questioning whether life was worth living anymore, and I regretted ever moving to Shasta County even. And after today, I feel like I do have a future, and there is something worth fighting for. And I see positive things on the horizon that I'm hopeful. I never expected to get a celebration or anything out of this, but I do have the hope that tomorrow is another day, and this is going in the right direction, and I see a future for my career. I see a future for my family. I see a future for myself here in Shasta County. It's like something that my husband always likes to say, I ain't leaving, and lawyers are stubborn, so I ain't leaving either.